Good evening. Welcome to Intro to Essential Oils. Thank you for bearing with us during our technical difficulties. We are figuring this out and we are going to get started here. Unfortunately, we won't be able to, you won't be seeing me doing the presentation, but a much better option, you'll get to see my pretty slides instead of my face. So we'll continue through that. I will get started here on the Intro to Essential Oils. I wanted to express my gratitude for you attending tonight. I realize there are a lot of other things you could have been doing this evening, and you chose to invest in yourself and take the time to attend this course, and that is a very, very wise choice that you made to invest in yourself and your health. I realize that time is our most valuable commodity, and you are here for a reason. I believe that. So thank you for taking the time to come this evening. So some of you may have never heard of essential oils, and you would be exactly where I was about 4 years ago. So we're going to help you out with that as we get started. If you're new, you can be prepared for a lot of new information, but if you've used oils before, you'll be also sure to learn something new this evening. I know that every time I speak with someone about what they use oils for or how they use them, I get to learn something, and that's what's really exciting about using essential oils. Just before we get started, a small disclaimer. I am not a doctor, so I'm not here to treat, cure, or prevent any diseases. I am a mom who's done a lot of research and made a lot of choices and changes regarding my health, and I'm here to share that with you tonight. I would always suggest consulting with your medical professionals, with your healthcare team before you use any products or make any changes. Tonight is meant for educational and informational purposes only. I'm going to speak on achieving and maintaining wellness, not diseases specifically, and I would encourage you to be your own wellness advocate, to really tune into your body and what feels right for you. And I would also encourage you, if something doesn't feel right, to get a second opinion and to look into that further, because I believe that you were put on the earth to feel awesome and to feel really great. So I want to encourage you in that if you're searching it out, that hopefully we can provide some options for you here, and we can help you as you go on your wellness journey. So this is me. As I said, you won't be seeing me this evening, so this will be the closest that you can get. I am the mom of these 4 beautiful children. I am the wife of this one man. We live here in Calgary, Alberta, with our 4 children, actually just outside of Calgary in a small city called Chestermere. It's around a lake, so on days like today, we are enjoying the lake life. I hope it's warm wherever you are. We moved to Chestermere a couple years ago, and we've been loving the small town feel in this city. So a few years ago, I want to share my story and how I kind of got started with this. And if that's okay with you, I'll share a bit of my story. About 4 years ago, the little person sitting on my lap was born, and we were overjoyed to have that small person. Previous to that, I had been working. I was then home with the kids while I was expecting, and we were loving life. But when that, my smallest, who will be 4 in a couple weeks, came into being, the rest of my kids came home for the summer from school. So I had all these kids home from school. Unfortunately, at the same time, we were dealing with some personal circumstances. My father-in-law passed away, and at the same time, our basement flooded. So all of these things were happening in the summer of, 4 years ago, 2014. And I'm sure some of you can relate to times in real life where all the crazy happens all at the same time, and it can feel a little bit overwhelming. During that summer, a friend of mine had asked if I ever heard of essential oils, and I really thought they were kind of just a fad. I had heard a little bit about them, but I just thought it was one of those hippy dippy things that was just going around right now. But I was curious as I kept hearing more and more about them and what they claim to do or help with. And so during that summer, a friend of mine invited me to attend a presentation, and I went mostly because I wanted to get out of the house. And that's me just being honest. During the summer, with all the kids at home, I wanted to get out of the house, get a little break, and learn a little bit about these hippy dippy oils. So I went to the presentation and received a deluge of information. There was a lot of facts and figures and oils went around at that time. And I felt a little bit overwhelmed, but the speaker kept talking about oils and what they had done for her family, and I couldn't help but be intrigued. At that time, we were going through all of that, but we also had other things in our family, as I'm sure you do. So I have celiac disease, which means that I can't handle any gluten, and my oldest son had been diagnosed as well. So I'm used to reading labels, and I think that's more and more common now. People are more aware of what they're eating, what they're putting on their bodies, and reading labels. And so at that time, I was reading a lot of labels of food, but I was also looking more into the beauty products that I was using. I was looking more into the food that we were eating and any possible chemicals or, something negative that could be in those things. But I was feeling a little bit overwhelmed. You may have heard the term greenwashing, and a lot of the products that I were using were greenwashed, which means that they were, sold or marketed to be healthy or to be a better alternative, but they weren't necessarily so. And that was kind of a difficult process for me. So I was looking for something that would really help with our health and also in our household and the makeup products and beauty products and all those things that we were using. So the cool thing about essential oils is that I could easily replace a lot of those products with essential oils. And I'll delve into that a little bit further, but that's what really appealed to me, I think, is that I was looking for something natural, something that I could trust and just know that it was good for me and my family. And I needed a lot of help, both physically, mentally, and emotionally. It was a really hard time. It was a really dark time for me, and I needed a lot of help. So the cool thing is that we started making small changes over time. I started looking at what cleaners I used. I started really focusing on the shampoo I used in my hair. I started taking time to really relax and practice gratefulness. I sought out counseling, and we incorporated essential oils. And the cool thing is that I can say that all this time later, I get to be here for this presentation, even if you can't see me right now. This was a big night. We are presenting to a lot of different cities right now throughout Alberta, and I was really excited for this opportunity. And I know that if this had happened those years ago, I wouldn't have been able to do this because I was just so overwhelmed at the idea of leaving my house. So all this to say that no matter where you are, I want to encourage you, I want to help guide you, and I want to send you some love and some care, and just know that there are ways to help yourself out. Essential oils can just be one small piece of the puzzle, and I'm here to help you out with that part. So on to our next slide. Not everything is perfect still in this world. I've got 99 problems, but oils solved like 87 of them. So that's where I'm at now. So I want to say it's very nice to meet you. Unfortunately, we won't be able to be interacting tonight, but I'm just going to take a moment just to pause and let you reflect then on what brought you here tonight, and to reflect on that for a moment. If you're new to oils, or if you've used them for a while, if you're new to oils, is there something specific you're looking for? And if you've used them for a while, what's your favorite one? So again, if you have a pen and paper, if you're taking notes, I just want to give you a moment to reflect on this, since we won't be able to do a Q&A back and forth, but allow you this time to really think about this. And you can maybe just, I'll leave my contact information later so you can ask any specific questions. But again, just take a moment and just reflect on this. I'm back. This is my life now. We all have those times when life happens. So we stop and drop and roll. So I'm going to share a little about what essential oils are. If you've ever walked by a field of lavender or smelled fresh cut mint, you've experienced the aromatic qualities of essential oils. They can be both beautifully and powerfully fragrant. They are the natural aromatic compounds, and they are found in various parts of the plant. So if you ever think of a plant or a stem that you've broken and liquid has come out of it, that would be the lifeblood of the plant. So pure essential oils are translucent and they range in color. So something like lemon would be more of a yellow color, and there's an oil called blue tansy which has the deep, deep blue color. It's a beautiful oil, blue tansy, but they range in color. Essential oils have been around since the beginning of time. Currently, I think people are starting to return to using more naturally based remedies, which I think is a really cool trend, and essential oils fit right in there. Essential oils provide so many different benefits. They can be used to support your immune system, your mood, skin, muscles, and so much more. They can be relaxing, uplifting, enhance your clarity of thought, and support emotional well-being. They also promote good health, and they offer support and regeneration. They have many natural properties that can benefit your body. In aromatherapy, they are recognized for a host of supports, such as cuts and bruises, as I've listed here, coughs, colds, digestive discomfort, and headaches. So those are various ways that you can use oils topically, and I'll get into that a little bit more later on. I know there's a lot of information on this slide, so if you do have your phone with you, you can take it out and just take a picture. Otherwise, as I said, I'll leave my contact information later if you have further questions. Essential oil purity is so important, and I'm going to take a moment on this because I think this is one of the most important things regarding essential oils, and why I did a lot of research before I got started with different companies. It takes a large amount of raw plant material to create pure oils. Of course, the cheaper oils don't always offer the same therapeutic value as those purchased from sellers that invest more in the care and cost into the distillation, the storage, and the shipment of their oil. There's huge cost to growing and harvesting botanicals and oils and plants. Essential oil yields vary from plant to plant. So when you're looking into the purity of essential oil, it's very important because your body is taking that in. You want to know that your oil is 100% pure. So essential oil bottles will be labeled with various things such as organic, therapeutic grade, 100% pure, and that is simply labeling. An oil only needs to have about 5 to 10% of the natural product in order to be labeled pure. So if something says pure peppermint, it doesn't necessarily have to be pure, as they can have various other products in it. So be very careful and do your research into which oils you're using and putting on your body. Some oils do cost more than others because it will be a company that is more inclined to have a pure oil and put a lot of cost and care into bottling that precious oil. So cost isn't necessarily an indication of a pure oil, but you should be able to research the company and look into which ones are pure. A good indication of a great oil would be something that's labeled NHP. That's my third bullet point there. It would be a natural health product, and those have been approved by Health Canada for certain uses. So something like lemon would be indicated as a natural health product for use to relieve cough or cold. So that would be a really great company and a really great oil that you can use. Other things to look for is to know if the company can tell you where the seed came from, how they grew the plant, how they distilled it, did they test it, can they trace it back to its source? And those are the steps I've listed at the bottom there. If they don't know all of those things, they wouldn't be able to necessarily guarantee that the bottle is 100% pure, as they don't know all the steps that's been put into it. So this is a very, very important point that I want to emphasize for you. And when you do look at essential oils, to ask those questions and to look into the purity of the oil. There are a lot of synthetic essential oils, unfortunately, because the fact of the matter is there's some oils like lavender that are so extremely popular right now that the supply doesn't meet the demand. And so when that equation doesn't equal, then unfortunately there is a lot of lavender that would be created in a lab. It can be listed under the name of lavandin. Purity is important because it determines the effectiveness and dependability of the oils. So look at the ingredient list, look how long the company has been distilling, look at if they can tell you where the oil came from. Those are all good indicators that the oil would be 100% pure, which is very important, again, to make sure that the oil is effective and safe for use on your body. And getting a little bit more into essential oil safety, I want to make a couple recommendations, and I want you to take this information and then go use your oils. I know a lot of people are hesitant and then never really use them because they're scared or they're fearful of what might happen. So I'm going to give you this information, and then do not be scared. Go use your oils. Use them for how awesome they are. Most essential oils, even those found in health food stores, can be synthetic, adulterated, which means something was taken in or out, or diluted. So they could be potentially toxic to us and trigger allergic reactions or headaches. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the third bullet point there, allergies. If it is a pure essential oil, you should not have an allergic reaction to it. The reason for this is because allergies are erroneous immune responses to proteins or peptides, amino acids, but none of those components are found in pure steam distilled essential oils, with the possible exception of citrus oils since they're cold pressed from the rind, so there could be small traces, but no one should be allergic to a lavender plant if it's 100% pure. So while allergic reactions to oils are virtually unheard of, it is possible to have a detox reaction, which is the next point there. Detox reactions can present like an allergic reaction, such as congestion or skin reactions or headaches, but they're caused by the detoxifying nature of the oils. Oils will break down and pull out toxins hidden in your body, and your body needs to get rid of them. So when you're experiencing a detox, slow down your oil use and make sure you are drinking plenty of water. After a few uses, your reactions will lessen and you'll be able to slowly increase your oil use again. Keep in mind that the oils will be working to bring your body back into balance. So as I mentioned in the first point there, low and slow. That means use a drop or two and use it very slowly over time. So it's better to use a slower amount over time than to use like one drop every 20 minutes than using 3 drops and then not using it again for an hour. Just go low and slow. Another point I want to mention is to never use water if you experience irritation, if you go back to the phrase that oil and water don't mix. So if you do experience irritation, you won't be able to wash off the oil with water. It will actually drive the oil in further. So a great idea would be to take a carrier oil, which I've mentioned there, and a carrier oil could be anything like the coconut oil you have or your almond oil, olive oil, whatever you have on hand. So just make some of that with the oil just to dilute it and you'll be good to go. The last point I also can't emphasize enough, don't apply essential oils to sensitive areas such as your ears, eyes, nose, anything downstairs area. Don't be applying essential oils there. Now I'm going to get into how to use essential oils. And there's 3 main ways. You can use them aromatically, so that would be smelling it, topically, and internally. Generally speaking, essential oils are very potent. They are fast acting and very safe. So here's some great ways to use them. First of all, topically. You can apply them to any area of your body. That's it. That's how you use them. Apply directly to desired area and use 1 to 3 drops and done. The second point, more is not always better, and that's what I mentioned before. If you're looking to use peppermint maybe for some tired muscles, then I would suggest applying it to the area and then applying it again as needed, but don't drop, 10 drops onto your hamstrings and then it could get a little intense. Just use a drop or 2 at a time. A great way to use them in different areas of your body, your feet, behind your ears, wrists, front of the neck, and base of the neck. Feet, I always recommend for kids. It's actually a really safe spot to use for kids. That's my go-to for my kids. The feet do absorb the oils to go and help through the rest of your body. So if they're experiencing any digestive discomfort, for example, you can put some oils on their feet and it'll help with their little tummies. So that's really, really cool. And then you don't have to worry about it getting into their eyes, or the feet are really hardy. So for kids, use them on their feet. It's really awesome. For myself, I really love to use it on the base of my skull. And I also like it on my wrists. Because you can't see me right now, but my hands are always waving in the air and I get a little whiff as I'm talking or doing something. So I'll just put a drop on my wrist and rub them together, and then I get to experience the really great benefits from essential oils. The last point I've mentioned there is that you can layer oils by applying them on top of each other. So if you're using that peppermint for your sore muscles, but you want a little bit of extra kick and you're going to use an oil such as wintergreen, which is also a great muscle support, you can layer those oils on top of each other. And then if you find it is a little intense, or if you want to cover a large area of your body, it's not always cost effective or the most conducive to just be dumping oils everywhere. So you can put a drop or 2 in your hand with your carrier oil and just apply it as needed in the larger area as you need it. Aromatically. So inhaling is actually the fastest way to get the effects of essential oils, as they go straight to your brain. So you have in your nose your olfactory system, and that hooks right into your brain. So that's the fastest way to get essential oils in there. You can also use a diffuser. And regarding a diffuser, you may have heard that some companies may say they have better diffusers than others. That hasn't been my experience, so just go buy a cute diffuser, one that works for you. I know there's lots of different options out there, and they're part of your home decor, so pick a cute one that you love. The only thing I would suggest is perhaps getting a diffuser that has an option of intermittent use, so which means that it goes on for a minute, off for a minute, because over the course of time, if you just have a diffuser running straight, your brain does get used to the effects and doesn't necessarily know what's happening anymore. It just becomes accustomed to it. So if you have a diffuser that goes on and off, then you are always getting the benefits over time. So that would be my only suggestion, but as I said, pick a cute diffuser and use it up. You can also just simply place a drop in your hand and just sniff it. Just sit there for a minute, breathe it in and out, and that breathing exercise alone will calm you down, and you get to smell the oil at the same time. So you can smell it also directly from the bottle. Just take a whiff. You can put it on cotton balls throughout your house. And there's also a lot of diffusing jewelry. So if you have like a cute bracelet with lava stones on it, I also have some jewelry that has leather discs in it. So you can put a drop or 2 of oil on the leather discs, which absorbs it. And that can be placed against the nape of your neck, so you get to experience the benefits through the day. There's a lot of different options for jewelry, and then you get to smell awesome at the same time. The other point that I didn't put as a bullet point, but I just want to speak on briefly, is this whole idea that you can use your brain and smell for good. And the idea is that your body is created so awesomely that it's created to protect itself. And we've all heard of fight or flight. So that's when your brain is just like, this isn't good, get me out of here. So I want to encourage you to maybe use your brain and your smell for good. So what I do now is I'll take a favorite bottle of oil that I might have, and I'll take a sniff of it if I'm at a friend's birthday party or if I'm going out on a date with my husband. And what I want to do is train my brain to remember good. When I smell that bottle again, then I can remember the good memories and I can teach myself to remember those moments and hold on to them. And then perhaps if I'm not having an awesome day, I can still smell it again and train my brain to be happy again and to feel awesome. So instead of just thinking of fight or flight, let's use our brains and train them for feeling good and feeling amazing. The third way to use oils is internally. And if you are going to put essential oils in your body, please make sure that oil is 100% pure. That's going to be so important because it's going to be in your body and you are going to be ingesting it. So you want to make sure that there's no other contaminants or that, as I mentioned, the oil isn't adulterated with something else because that's going into your body. If you're going to use it in drinking, I like to put, for instance, a drop of lemon in my water as flavoring to avoid the juice and the sugars. Then make sure it's in a stainless steel or glass container because some oils will actually pull out the toxins that are in plastics. So be careful with that. But I know there's lots of different options for stainless steel and glass nowadays. And then you can also use them as food flavoring in water or cooking and baking. Because you're going to be using 100% pure essential oils, be careful because a little goes a long way. If you ever talk to my family, they'll tell you a story of once when I used lemon in my chicken dish and 1, 2, I think 3 drops squished out, and that was some lemony chicken. So just be careful when you're using it as food flavoring. What you can do is actually just kind of put like a pick or something in the essential oil and use that to mix it up, but be careful when those drops are squeezing out. I just need a few dabs of oil and I'll be fine.
Thank you.
So I'm going to get into my top 5 favorite oils, and lavender has to be one of my favorites. This is one of the more familiar oils, which is really cool. If you smell it, generally it can be relaxing for you or it's a familiar smell, but different oils do have different effects on people. For instance, most people do think lavender is very relaxing. When I use lavender, it relaxes me to the point that I feel energized. So I do not use lavender before I'm going to bed because I feel like I want to run a marathon or just go read my book all night. So be careful, different oils affect people in different ways, and then you can use them to the best use that you have to. So you can use them for relaxing at night. I like to put a couple drops in the bath for my kids. Otherwise, you can also buy wool dryer balls. I don't know if you've ever seen this before, but you should definitely be kicking the dryer sheets that you're using, and you can get wool balls to dry your laundry. And so you can put a couple drops of oils on the balls and make sure your laundry's dry, and then just do an air dry cycle with the essential oils on your dryer balls, your wool dryer balls, and the scent will be throughout your laundry. So good tip for moms, do that for your kids' bed sheets and they will sleep. It'll be beautiful. So you can also diffuse it just to diffuse it in the air. And it's such a versatile oil. If you don't know which oil to grab, just grab lavender. It's a great skin support. I know once I made my husband a cup of coffee and I dumped it all over my hand and I grabbed lavender and just put it right on there and it was totally helpful. I don't know what area of Alberta you're in, but most of us are experiencing quite the heat wave. So lavender is great if you were out in the sun for a little bit of extra time and your skin is looking a little pink. Lavender would be a great one to grab. The next one I'm going to talk about is peppermint. Peppermint has been around forever. Again, a very familiar smell, and it's really stimulating and invigorating. I did touch on a little bit using it after physical activity for sore muscles. For instance, after my husband plays a game of hockey, he likes to use some peppermint. I also like it when you have that meeting at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and you actually just want to take a nap. So I'll put a drop in between my hands and just inhale it just to feel invigorated and awake for that meeting that I have to get through. Otherwise, those long car rides, this is a perfect option to use for the long car rides to stay awake. I mentioned on the PowerPoint here that it's a hot oil, and what I mean by that is because it has menthol in it, it does have the warming factor. So be very careful with this one, especially in littler people that have sensitive skin. A great option would be to dilute it. And the last one I'm going to touch on is to use caution when pregnant or breastfeeding, especially with peppermint. There has been some indication that it can affect your breast milk supply. I used it while I was breastfeeding and didn't have any negative or detrimental effects. But again, you can talk to your healthcare provider and see how your body reacts as well. Next up is lemon. Lemon is actually cold pressed from the peel. It's not lemon juice directly. So it includes the natural occurring constituent limonene, and limonene is one of the coolest things. If you want to do some more research later tonight, just Google limonene and the dreaded C word actually, and there's lemon and limonene does really, really cool things for that. So again, if you're a research buff, go look into that. I just find it really refreshing. I love lemon or citrus in the morning, find it gets me going, it's familiar, and another way that I like to use it is to get anything sticky off. And having 4 kids, we have the sticky things that are happening all the time. I'm also a big fan of shopping at Winners or Marshalls. And if you're familiar with those stores, you know they always have the annoying stickers on them. So lemon is a great way to get those stickers off. So that's what I would recommend using lemon for. The only caution I'm going to say with lemon is it can be photosensitive. So be a little bit careful if you're going to apply lemon topically and then go into the sun. There are people that have more sensitive skin and it can be photosensitive. Again, I haven't experienced this effect personally, but I just wanted you to be aware of it. And you might know that about yourself, that you're just a little bit more sensitive to the sun. So just if you're going to apply it, then maybe just wait 24 hours before going out into the sun or keep that skin covered up. But another cool way, I don't know how many of you were around in the 90s when we used to use Sun-In. Do any of you remember that product that we used to use to lighten our hair? Yeah, totally did that. So lemon would be a great way to do that naturally. You can just mix it in with your shampoo and get those natural highlights. The next oil that I'm going to talk about is frankincense, and I love frankincense. It is calming, it is uplifting, refreshing. It is an absolutely beautiful, beautiful oil. I don't know how many of you remember, but as a gift to baby Jesus in the Bible, apparently the wise men brought gifts of frankincense. I don't know if that was for Jesus or if it was for Mary, that she just needed to relax and have some support at that time, but frankincense would be a great gift for a lot of new moms. You can diffuse it, it's very calming, and it's also a key ingredient in many natural skincare products. It's great for your skin, it's beautiful. If you need a lot of skin support, I know I do because I like to eat all the chocolate all the time, so frankincense is a great option. What I haven't listed here, but I was talking to a friend of mine who is an acupuncturist recently, and she uses frankincense for all anything that she needs with people who need support with their head or with their brain, any injuries that way. Frankincense is her go-to. She says she just applies frankincense. Frankincense is great for the brain. They love it. So you can look into frankincense if you have any concerns that way as well. And I thought it was so cool that she mentioned that. The last of my top 5 that I'm going to round out with is Thieves. So the previous 4 oils were essential oil singles, which means that there's only peppermint in the bottle, there's only frankincense. Thieves is what we call a blend of oils. So there is several different oils in there, such as clove, lemon, cinnamon, eucalyptus, and rosemary. And blends are created for a very specific purpose. So this was made for an immune system boost. The story of Thieves is during the 15th century. Apparently, there was some thieves who used this combination to ward off the Black Plague, and then they were grave robbers. So that's the story of how Thieves came about. I like to use it for its great cleaning power, and it has a fantastic smell. Okay. So I would highly encourage to use Thieves, as this was one of the ones that was great for me for the kids, in that I always felt like I was waiting for someone to get sick. I always felt like that because kids go to daycare, they go and hang out with their friends, and it's just, I felt like I was waiting for someone to get sick all the time, and I didn't have time for that, and I'm sure you don't either. So Thieves can be a great option. I find this one of the more empowering oils because, if I ever hear something's coming up, I just start diffusing Thieves. I apply it to the bottom of my kids' feet. There's a whole line of products based on Thieves. There's, a household cleaner, a laundry detergent, all those things that has that great smell to it and is great to boost your immune system. My husband swears by this. He has a bottle of Thieves sitting at his desk, and if he ever feels something, he just does a couple squirts of Thieves in the back of his neck. I would caution that the clove can be numbing, so be careful with the Thieves oil. So again, my favorite way is just to diffuse it, and it's a great option. And we have been much more well in the past few years as a result of using Thieves. And I just feel like I have something that I can go to instead of waiting for the kids to get sick. Instead of waiting for me to catch something, we've been feeling amazing, and much of that I can credit to Thieves. Another point that I just wanted to touch on really briefly is personal care products. And as I said, I was on this journey of wellness and looking for non-toxic options, and I felt really overwhelmed. So research has revealed that toxic chemicals in our daily lives play a role in many serious health issues. So the more you know about these harmful chemicals, the more you can safeguard yourself and those you love. You and your family deserve products that are free from synthetic chemicals. And these are just some of the things that you can avoid in your personal care products. This is not a fully comprehensive list, but if you see any of these items on your products, you can maybe just start swapping them out for other products. I know there's a lot of great companies that offer great options for body wash, deodorant, all those things that you put on your body, because as cool as essential oils are that get absorbed into your body, if you have any of those other nasty things, they also get absorbed into your body. And over time, those can build up and cause detrimental effects. So as I said, maybe just start slowly swapping out some of the products that are high in these kind of nasty things. And also touching on that is the products that you use in your house, things like ammonia and chlorine. You want the best for you and your family. And a lot of companies are responding to this and creating products that are much better. So the cool thing is that we get to be part of the solution and part of the change, and we get to vote with our dollars. So if you find a company that's doing a really awesome job at creating really awesome products, buy them. Let's support them and help them, because I know a lot of companies are changing because they've seen that we are aware and that we're making these changes. To help you out, these are some of my favorite apps. If you have a smartphone or tablet, any of those things, and I'll touch on them briefly. I know I've just given you an absolute ton of information. So here's a good place to get started. So the first one I've listed there is called Think Dirty. If you do have a spouse or significant other, warn them that you're going to have an app on your phone called Think Dirty. And this is simply to look for products and to see what rating the app gives them. So it gives them a rating out of 10, and the higher the number, the more toxic the product is. So when I talk about swapping out things as you go along, I would suggest perhaps swapping out things that are higher on the list, and then maybe things that are a 4 or a 5 on your list. You can, make sure you use that product up and then maybe swap it up for something with a lesser number. But if something's a 9 or a 10, it's probably not the best for you or your family, and maybe you want to swap that one out sooner. Again, you get to vote with your dollars, and you get to make those changes over time. As I said, I've been doing this for 4 or 5 years now, so how we live now is different from that time, but we got to make those changes over time. The second app is called the Reference Guide for Essential Oils. I believe in the App Store it's called the Ref Guide and then the number 4. It's under a bit of a different name. This is one of the few apps in my lifetime that I've actually paid for. Most apps, aside from Spotify, I have Spotify. I don't even know why we have Spotify, because all my kids, I think, listen to is like the Moana soundtrack and The Greatest Showman lately. So those have been on repeat in our household, but the Reference Guide is one of the apps that I would recommend. It's well worth, I think it's $7, and you can choose according to area of concern. You can choose according to the oil, and they give you helpful hints. It's very comprehensive. I found it very helpful, especially when I was getting started. And the third app I have listed there, a lot of people are more familiar with, is the Environmental Working Group's Healthy Living app. And that one is awesome for your household products, as well as I think they have more food items than the Think Dirty app. So Think Dirty and the Healthy Living app are both free, so those are great options. You can scan barcodes of products that you have, very easy to use. And as I said, just start making those changes. You can totally do it, and you're going to start to feel really awesome. Several other resources that you can use and that I used in this presentation: Dr. Scott A. Johnson. He has a lot of quite technical information. I found him very helpful. Dr. Josh Axe, really great resource. And some of the information that I also listed was from the PubMed website. So you can actually go online and see published studies of doctors and researchers that have looked into lavender and how it affects sleep. And these are scientific studies. So if you are a bit of a research person, or a bit of a science nerd, I didn't necessarily look into this right away, but now I just find it fascinating. Initially when I got started, I just started using oils and I just wanted to know that they worked, and now it's so cool to see all the research and study that's going into all these oils. So if you want to do a lot of research, go to the PubMed website. They have some fantastic resources there. And then I'll help you out with one more. This is my website that you can go to. So it's oilsandawesome.com, all spelled out, oilsandawesome.com. And on there are a little bit more information about me and different topics, different oils, how you use them, such as, essential oils in your dogs or your pets, or which diffuser to get. There's tons of information on there. So that's oilsandawesome.com. And we do have an email sign-up list. I promise that we won't be spamming you every day. What I would suggest is the Curious About Essential Oils list. And you just get a few emails on some of the more basic essential oils to use, how to use them. I promise you we won't be emailing you every day, but I'd love to keep in contact, and then I can let you know when upcoming sales or new products are offered. And then you can ask me any questions wherever you are on your wellness journey, whatever you have going on. The cool thing about essential oils is it brings people together. We have a great, beautiful, beautiful community that I love being a part of, and it's so encouraging and helpful, and we get to learn from each other all the time. So that's been a really cool part of the journey as well. Most companies will have what they refer to as like a starter kit, some basic package that's going to be the best value for you and also helpful for integrating essential oils into your life. So if you buy one oil, if you get some lemon and, you're all excited about it, but then, it's going to sit in your bathroom or your kitchen and you're just going to forget about it. What I would suggest is getting some kind of package in going in and then putting it on your kitchen counter and using them. That's exactly what I did. And then I wasn't scared to use them. I got to experience them. It was on the forefront of my mind all the time. It was so helpful for our family. So it's generally the best value is to get one of these, what they call starter kits, with a variety of oils, a variety of products. Sometimes there's a diffuser. Whatever company you decide to go for, I would suggest looking into their starter kits because, again, you might as well get the best bang for your buck, and it's going to have a great variety of products in there for you. Even if you don't know which oil to use, just grab one, and they'll have lots of options there for you. Thank you for joining me tonight. I want to remind you to be kind to yourself. I want to remind you that this could be the start of a new beginning, that whatever you did or were looking into in the past, this could be something new and exciting. So grab an essential oil, diffuse it, use it, wear it, enjoy it. That concludes my information that I had to share with you tonight regarding essential oils. I want to thank those of you that are still hanging with me, and I'm so grateful that you spent this time with us tonight. Again, my information is on the bottom there. I would love to hear any feedback that you have, and I want you to have an amazing night. Have an amazing summer. Maybe essential oils will be coming to the beach with you or camping, and you're gonna look, feel, and smell really amazing. So thank you so much for joining me tonight.